It's all about being clean, cutting the air like a knife, having no drag whatsoever, and having the perfect drag coefficiency. So things have changed so much. And I know things, just for you, and I know you're sort of engineering in some ways, is the monocoques. Now, a monocoque, the chassis, just the chassis itself, they're about 60, 70 kilos of weight. The front wing is only about 20 kilos as well. This is a Mercedes-Benz, by the way, don't tell anybody. Rear wing assembly, that's only about 9 kilos. Driver's seat, 1.5 kilos. So again, they try and take away as much weight as they possibly can. Gearbox, it's got a bit of a titanium little sort of box inside of it, 50, 60 kilos at the same time. Engine, only 180, 190 kilos. But overall, the car's got to weigh, 660 kilos. So it's amazing what they can do now compared to what it used to be in the old days. But it was a whole month of that 1994 season, because you had the Rubens Barrichello crashed heavily on the Friday. We lost Roland, unfortunately, when his wing fell off at 210 miles an hour, I think, the impact speed that he had. And then obviously Ayrton Senna on the Sunday. Then we all went to Monaco. We all had a sort of minute silence on the front of the grid. During the race, Carl Wendlinger had a crash on the exit of the tunnel. He went into a coma for a month. I then went testing at Silverstone with my teammate Pedro Lamy. And those do you remember the old Abbey and Bridge, the old circuit that we used to have? But it was a flat-out Abbey, 175, 180 miles an hour. And I was about 100 yards behind Pedro testing. This is testing. And it was because they had the big diffusers after obviously what happened with Ayrton and Roland, and they had the diffusers, and they cut the diffuser in half where the axle line is. But the support for the wing was all sort of a very important part of the engineering that was involved at that point. So when you just cut the floor off, things change in a very dramatic way, and they did for Pedro. And as I walked past it, just out the corner of my eye, I saw a little flame. So I sort of went back again, and I looked down it, and 20 metres down in the tunnel, there was a monocoque sitting down this tunnel, and it had broke. When I got there, it was like he was sitting in a deck chair. His feet were on top of the monocoque from the front that had broken off, because he'd gone in obviously sideways. That handrail had sort of smacked on the monocoque itself, which broke that off. Then you see all the marks where it slides down the little sort of walkway itself. And there is Pedro Lamy there, slumped. There's a little fire coming out of the refueling nozzle behind his head. The paint is peeling off his helmet. So I'm thinking, shit, this is just not what you need. Marshall comes in. He then has the extinguisher, and I tried to say to him, don't fire it in the tunnel. And as I'm sort of trying to explain it, he just fires it off. It then just sort of completely covers it. You can't breathe, because obviously it takes all the oxygen out of the air. So I ran outside, I get the helmet off, I go back into it. He's still slumped, and then thankfully he suddenly sort of came alert. His eyes were on stalks. They were just so big. And there's one man who would like to go back to sort of those 80s and 90s period. Is Lewis Hamilton, strangely enough. He would love to have had that challenge back then. He had a meeting, I've told a couple of you, he had a meeting in the GPDA, as they have, and saying, guys, I think we're taking the Michael out of these track limits. I think we should start giving penalties if we go 4 wheels off the circuit. And I said, well, so how many backed you up then? Not one backed him up. I said, what do they want? They wanted more runoff area. It's a completely different mentality. And Nigel Mansell always told me this. When he used to go through a Rouge, flat out, right on the edge, there was only about a 5 metre from the edge of the track to the barrier, all grass, no gravel, no nothing. He then used to go through it flat out, especially in qualifying. That was telling his foot to come off. And he would then fight it to say, fucking not taking my foot off. But that's the mind game. That's that raw, natural ability to sort of have that risk factor as part of the driving, which is sort of lacking at the present time. But things have changed massively as far as sort of Formula One is going at the moment, and I think it's the technology, the engineering side of things which is obviously you know a lot about, is absolutely perfect more, I think, nowadays compared to my day where it